What is up, guys? Today is going to be kind of a different style video. As I explained on Instagram, and as you may have seen, I have changed the name over from Poverty Society to Kanjo Brothers. And today I'm going to kind of explain that whole thing that's going on, the transition and whatever, but bear with me. I hate being in front of a camera completely, and it actually takes a lot for me to even like upload videos because I hate hearing myself talk, and I'm just not a social person at all. But I'm going to do my best to make this less cringy and, I guess, efficient. So first off, one of the biggest reasons for changing the name to Kanjo Brothers is because Poverty Society, when you try to like look it up on YouTube and stuff, it doesn't, you don't find my channel. You find like documentaries on third world countries and like rundown stuff in the US. And obviously, like right off the bat, Poverty Society has like nothing to do with cars. The two words really together, at least. But I'll kind of give you the backstory and my reasoning behind the original name. That was way before I even planned or ever even thought I would try to make a YouTube video in my life, because obviously I just hate being in front of the camera and stuff. So my original idea behind the name Poverty Society came from kind of my position in the car culture, as well as like my brother and just our friend group in general. We were a bunch of kids that just wanted to be into cars, and we enjoyed them, and we enjoyed them for ourselves. We weren't building them to try to compete in car shows or whatever, try to please other people by having flashy paint or, you know, shiny wheels and all that kind of stuff. We were kind of building them on a budget. We came from a very poor family. I mean, don't get me wrong, we were very blessed at the same time, and we always kind of had my grandparents to turn to when times got really tough. But basically, yeah, not to get into it deep, but that's what we were doing. We were trying to be a part of the car culture, but we did not have the budget to build these things. Like, I had a 91 Civic as my first car, and it was my daily driver year-round. My brother had a Integra at the time, and we couldn't do some fancy, like, pull it all apart, swap the motor, this and that, because we needed our cars to get to work the next day, and we did not have the money either to go buy new parts. We were scrounging at the junkyard after 2 weeks of work just to get parts our cars needed to drive to work. But we were also just kind of enjoying them. And yeah, but basically that's the whole, I guess, explanation behind the name Poverty Society. But not to make a life story out of any of this. I just kind of wanted to clarify the name, because I've been asked several times like why my name is Poverty Society, or like what it means. And that's essentially what it is. So like, shout out to all you guys that are building these cars in your driveway and driving them to work the next day because you don't have money for a project car. You just enjoy the car you have, and you're, you know, using it. And I notice some people, it might look like I have a lot of money because I have a lot of Hondas over here, but I don't. I actually took out a loan to start being able to buy these cars and sell them to make money, because my job, I don't make enough money to really live out here, even like comfortably, because the cost of living out in Montana is ridiculous. It's actually more than New York where I came from. So it's kind of just an investment I've made and been putting my time into, which has been successful. And on top of it, doing the YouTube is kind of just maybe an investment on the side. I'm not making money on YouTube, obviously, and may never make YouTube money, but it's just kind of something that I'm going along with, especially with all the support you guys have been giving me, which I appreciate very much, and all the positivity. So as long as you guys keep liking it or staying interested, I guess, in the stuff that I do, I'll keep putting it out. So on to Kanjo Brothers. This is an idea that I had actually years ago. Basically started with just the car scene became garbage, absolute garbage. And this was like maybe 6 or more years ago. It just turned into drama. It turned into kids coming there with like Audis slammed on just JNC wheels that their parents bought them, and they'd just come to the car meets, running their mouth and just being drama queens. And then they would also start fights or do burnouts and whatever. The list goes on. Just spoiled, rotten kids with cars that had no respect for the private property that people were letting us use, and just anyone else. Like, they'd come over and just run their mouth about how junky your car is, and then leave. And it was like, well, who wants that? Back in the day, it was You go to a car meet, you meet up with cool people with cool cars, and you talk about like, hey, like you got a Honda, I got a Honda, let's meet up sometime and do Honda stuff. Like you're into Volkswagens, he's into Volkswagens, same thing, you know, or it didn't even matter. We'd hang out with people with other types of cars, blah, blah, blah. Not gonna ramble on about that. If you're my age or close to my age, you know how that went down probably everywhere across the US. But regardless, my brother and I, we still wanted to enjoy cars and build them and whatever, but we didn't want to go out to the meets. We want to enjoy them at a professional level and just be mature about it, especially because he started a family and so on. So we started building these cars and kind of in respect to the Kanjo culture over in Japan. And I'm not going to go on about like a history lesson on the Kanjo racers or the Kanjo culture. If you're watching my videos, you probably already know about it, but the gist of it is they go out and race Hondas just like this, and they go out on the weekends and they do like a circuit. It's called Loop 1, blah, blah, blah. They go out, they race, they come back, and they basically say, hey, thanks for racing, that was fun. They don't come back and say, wow, your car is stupid, or you're a terrible driver. They go out and appreciate each other's company and just having a fun time, because if it wasn't for the other person in second place, third place, fourth place, you wouldn't have a race at all. You wouldn't be able to race your car around. You wouldn't be able to, you know, hang out with buddies. So that's essentially what we wanted to do, but on the track, which is what formed temple racing, actually, if you look that up in Japan as well. But that's, like I said, another story, but that's essentially what we wanted to do in respect of the Japanese culture. It was also kind of funny because back when we started kind of doing this, I had an EK coupe and he still had his black Integra. We had the door cards on it and stuff. We drive around in public, you know, on the weekends or whatever, just to drive our cars, and people are like, why do you have door cards on your car? Why does it look like a race car? Why are you driving on the street? They didn't get it, and it was funny. I only met like one or two people at the time that were like real good Honda enthusiasts that were like, dude, that's sick. I haven't ever seen anyone do that before, and it's cool that you know about it too, because it wasn't known in the US at the time, like hardly. So it was just kind of funny to kind of be a part of the culture when it came to the US before most people knew about it. But sadly, that whole idea behind building these cars and going to the track kind of fell through with, you know, starting a family. And actually, when I was building this car after I got rid of my EK and whatnot, COVID hit, and that shut down the tracks, that shut down everything for years, and I actually stopped even working on it. I kind of just drove around as is, didn't have the rear disc conversion in it and stuff like that. I was like, well, this kind of sucks because now I can't enjoy my car. I daily drive it once in a while. I drive it to work just to drive it, but that was about it. But like I said, my brother and I would still just kind of cruise around on weekends and just enjoy our cars on like back roads and just go take photos just for the fun of it, to enjoy driving together, since we couldn't go to the track, and that was about it. But one Christmas I was like, you know what, I'm still gonna go for it in the sense of supporting it and continuing the idea, because my brother is like my best friend, and I made actually these hoodies, so I'll show you. So I'm not the best model, but here you go. So if I remember correctly, I can't remember because it's been a while, I think I put Honda Performance down here in Japanese, the back. And then I have Kanjo EF on mine, and my brother has Kanjo DC, and then obviously the Honda on the front. I know my Civic is not a EF, it's an ED7, but everyone knows this chassis is an EF, even in the United States. But regardless, so I made these in kind of just a hope for our plan eventually coming about, maybe, you know, once COVID died and this and that. But long story short, I want to get out of New York. It's a terrible place to live. And I'm sorry if you still live there. If you like it, kudos to you, because I hated it. But I got a job offer, so I moved out of state, and that's why I'm here in Montana. And it's just nicer. There's no rust here, and I wasn't going to move anywhere unless there was no rust, because I'm sick of salt and stuff, given we get the cold. But whatever. Rabbit hole that I'm not going to go down. But anyways, that's where the idea of Kanjo Brothers came from. So from now on, the page is going to be Kanjo Brothers, and so is my Instagram. and I don't think I'll ever change it. So it's gonna stick like that. It just makes more sense for what I do, and it's easier, like I said, to search it on YouTube and whatnot. Given my brother's not here right now, he's still in New York, he's got a family out there, but in hopes someday he will be out here with me, or I'll just meet other friends that are into the Kanjo culture. It'll just make sense to have, the thing is, Kanjo Brothers. And a lot of you said you would be interested in buying merchandise to kind of help support the channel, and I really appreciate that as well. So I'm gonna start working on that more. I do have this design like that. I made the thing for the back with Casey. I'll put the pictures actually in the video of how it started. I just had this idea in my head for the logo and put it on paper and then so on, and just help design it. And last night I kind of revised it a little more, because at the time on the first logo it had a fart can on it, because my car had a fart can on it. And yeah, just little things like cut the windows out and whatever to give it more depth. I am no graphic designer whatsoever. This is just, like I said, some base idea that I wanted to have our logo with our cars tied into it. But yeah, but I probably won't put this on the first set of merchandise that I go off, because I still have to revise like the detail in here with Casey, because it cuts out weird, and I want to make sure it comes out a little better. But regardless, and it's just a pain in the butt. It takes a lot of money and time to get this all set up. But yeah, I want to do something simpler for the first release, and kind of to get a feel on how it sells, because like I said, it's a lot of time that I had to put into this, and Casey as well, and I have like zero time on my hands between fixing cars, working more than full time, and just doing YouTube while I'm doing this stuff. And I will announce on my YouTube and Instagram when I do come up with a design for the first release of merchandise. And like I said, it's all hand done by us. Like it's not, we're not sending it out or getting it made somewhere. Like we have to come up with a design, heat press it, buy the shirts for it and all that. So it might be kind of pricey as well, because it's just the time and supplies we gotta get for it. And I'm gonna try to do it the best as we can. But like I said, if you're interested, let me know, and when I release it, we'll see how many orders we get and go from there, see how well it does. Anyways, I'm gonna wrap this video up, because it's probably already very boring, because it's just me rambling on, and I hate being in front of the camera. But I just figured you guys deserve an explanation on the whole name change and kind of the history behind both names. But yeah, and maybe someday it'll expand into where I can make money on doing YouTube, but I highly doubt it. I'm not getting my hopes up. I just do this for the fun of it, and for you guys, and just the friends I've met. I've met plenty of people overseas, like in other countries, that are some of the coolest people I've met, and it's just kind of a very, I guess, I don't know, versatile way to communicate with people overseas that are into Hondas as well. And yeah, anything, I enjoy doing it. I enjoy talking to you guys and meeting people in other countries and seeing their builds and their culture. But anyways, for all of you that have been sticking with me throughout the channel, I appreciate every one of you. I like talking to you guys, and if you like the video, or if you are excited for the future and merchandise, give it a like. Subscribe if you want to stay with the channel and see all the builds and projects. I appreciate you guys watching. Go check out the Instagram. Same name, same everything. Goodbye to the past and hello to the future. It's the end of an era, boys.